Legends of Tomorrow, Episode 4, White Knights. I really love this episode because it was not only dramatic, I mean, Stein and Jax had a really great moment, especially with Stein after, Jax left, because they have this big argument. And then, this, and I never thought about it because we never had this type of moment for Stein's character. But he finally gets the chance to talk about having been with someone else, his former half of Firestorm, who is Ronnie. And I love the way that they did it because Ray's like, why aren't you telling me all of this stuff? And then, he says, like, because I have to push him. And he's like, well, he's just a kid. And so is Ronnie Raymond. And look, what happened to him. And I loved that moment. Like, that was a perfect line because, Ray had nothing to say. That it's like, well, it did happen. And there's really no way to just say, like, oh, that wasn't your fault or anything. Like, they were two halves of a whole. And he feels the need that he has to just push Jax, and it was great. Like, they had great moments, and Jax had a great speech as well. Like, what would happen to me if I died here and I never got the chance to go back to my mom? Like, she would think I just left. Because they're, once all of this is said and done, they're going to go back right to when they left, and everything will be fine, even though they'll be way older, and that's a weird time travel thing. But I thought that was a great speech that they had. It was just a really great moment, and he's like, I'm tired of listening to you and tired of you being in my head all the time trying to act like you know what's best or, the perfect answers to every situation. And I like that dynamic for those characters, and now we have a really, really crazy ending. It was like probably the craziest ending they've had so far outside of course, Carter dying. But this was just like, the whole thing is just a disaster of, of a mission. And every episode is like, okay, so this thing happens, tends not to work. This other thing happens, tends not to work. Ended really bad when Carter died. That was one of the, worst moments. And then last episode, meh, not so great. Kind of successful. They took a little bit of his essence because they killed him technically, but still kind of lost him in the end, and so they have to jump into the future. And then we have this, where it's once again one of those real, real deep moments where they just completely screw up everything. And let's see, we lose Stein, Ray gets knocked out, Snart is taken. They have the thermal core gets brought back, or I guess no, Snart wasn't taken, Rory was taken. So Heatwave is gone, Stein is gone, Ray is knocked out. They know that they need Stein as a way to make Firestorm, which apparently, based on the trailer, they do. And that woman, Valentina, she ends up becoming a version of Firestorm. And the big question is whether or not she's in control of Stein's other half, or if she has like some other component, or if she's truly like on her own or something. Because, and hopefully this isn't a spoiler for you guys, but in Flash, they're doing the Earth 2 thing. We got to see Deathstorm, is what he's calling himself on Earth 2, and it's Ronnie, and he says that Stein, he didn't let him out. So he's basically Firestorm all the time, but he keeps him inside. So I'm wondering if that's what they're going to have for the next episode of the show, where Stein is trapped inside this woman, and there's no explanation in Flash as to how that happens, but basically Stein isn't able to get free, and they can't separate. He's stuck. So they might have that as a thing, and they'll have to find some way to forcibly separate them, which in this episode they kind of show can easily just be a grenade, because I didn't think that could even happen, but the blast was so strong that it separated them. And I think it's because it wounded Jack so much, like he passed out and they had to take him to the medical area. But I don't know, it's very interesting to see that in the promo, so really excited for it. But we have 3 of our characters gone. We have Sarah and Kendra training each other to try to kind of both get past some of their worst sides. We have Kendra in this episode revealing that she has a worst side where it's full-on Hawk Girl, but she has zero control over it, and so she kind of just loses it, and she like claws this guy's face out, and then she tries to take down Sarah, and then Sarah still manages to reverse it, and she tries to choke her out, and it's like, oh crap, you went nuts, and then I went nuts, and I was about to kill you. So both of them are having some major internal struggles. Sarah has to deal with her bloodlust, and Kendra has to get control over her past lives, and this more ferocious side of herself, which we of course know both will do. But at this point, it's kind of a disaster because everything's falling apart. As Captain Cold said, half the team is gone. And then we have Kronos in this episode who does end up surviving, which I thought was good. I was also happy that they called him Boba Fett again. I thought that was actually really awesome. Um, we get to meet, I believe his name was like Druce or something like that, and he's one of the teachers, one of the people that taught Rip Hunter, I guess, how to be a Time Lord. I mean, I would assume it's just use the ship, don't screw up time, but I don't know. But Rip also did go through time anyway, and he stole a ship, so I guess they might need teachers. I don't know, checks and balances, but I'm very curious where they're gonna take that because so far Kronos has just been like, all right, he was in the, I believe it was the very first episode, or maybe it was the second one, but he goes after them, and then in this episode, they have a really great plan. I thought it was cool that, cut the engines, and then the missiles just fly right by and hit Kronos. But he shows up, and then he's kind of gone. They still get rid of him super fast. So I want to see him become a real big issue, and we might not get that too soon because at this point, it's really the team that's more of an issue to itself than anything else is. They argue, and they have to work through emotional struggles that result in physical struggles at points. They have to deal with, still at this point, I think Ray and Snart are the two that really have a lot of the team dynamics of being so different. And I like that idea because they kind of did that a lot when they got locked up in the house and it's Ray with these two criminals, and it's like, you know, we're kind of similar in certain ways, and both of us, just in little different ways, became totally different people. And then we have this episode where Ray is like, oh, I know this and I know that, and he was a little cocky, and it totally failed, and then Snart comes in, and he made it work, but he was still totally a criminal. It's like, he stole that woman's wallet in the beginning of the episode. He stole Valentina's wallet. Later in the episode, just like, I need money. Like, I'm a criminal, and we're traveling through time. I'm still gonna do, what I said I want to do. He's gonna be a criminal, and I like that idea. It still works, and it's fun. I think so far they're the two characters that I like to see play off of each other the most that weren't already connected. Like, technically Stein and Jax haven't been together for a super long time, but I kind of expected a little bit from them. Like, we kind of know what's going to happen because that's basically how they started off, is that they were almost polar opposites. So it's not surprising to see kind of the arc and where it goes. It is great because we do get to see some of the deeper stuff, and I do really appreciate that because, like I said, we never got this type of moment with Stein where he does reflect with someone or he expresses with someone else that he feels so horrible about what happened with Ronnie because he couldn't help it. Like, he couldn't stop that person from dying, and that was pretty much it. That's all there is to it, and he can't lose someone else that he cares about because that's a crazy connection to literally blend with someone and then you become like a superpower. So I love that idea, and of course, like I said, Jax, he said about his mother and her thinking like she just left or that he just left her for no good reason. That's really good. Like, that was a great moment for sure. But Captain Cold and Ray, or Snart, I guess I would say his actual name, but Snart and Ray, just their dynamic, I think, is really interesting because they're almost a little bit becoming friends, and same with Heatwave and Ray as well, because of course Snart and Rory are kind of together a lot. So Ray and the two of them have a really good dynamic, but I think it's just really fun. It was definitely a great episode, and just all the team dynamics, as usual, really, really fun. And I can't wait to see how they do this. I mean, I'm sure Snart isn't gonna, or I'm sure Stein isn't gonna get killed. I'm sure Sarah isn't gonna actually kill him. And I don't know what to expect with this firestorm thing happening where Valentina does get the power, and Savage is gonna be in there because of course he finds out that they broke in and everything like that. But really fun episode, very surprising ending. I thought, okay, this is gonna be really tense and stuff, and then it just falls apart completely. And I'm pretty sure Sarah once again mentioned something about the team, like her and Kendra kind of working together, solving their personal issues rather than helping out the team. So, like, once again, the dynamic of the team's not exactly, or the team itself, not exactly being 100% cohesive, where it's like, this crap is happening. Everybody go. It was pretty bad. And I don't know if he had a point or not, because if it was the two of them, I don't know if it would have changed that much, because they did have a ton of people and it was already a bad situation. And it was good from the start, so that's why they didn't send everyone to begin with. And I was freaked out when Stein mentioned going, and then I really thought he was on his own, and I was like, that really scares me. But even with, you know, 3 other people coming in, it just didn't really change too much. But I'm super excited for this next episode. Can't wait to see what they do with the villain and how they deal with the emotional stuff, because I think we're going to get to see a good moment from Sarah being the one as the assassin who's tasked with taking out Stein. So I'm looking forward to that. Of course, definitely want to know what you guys thought about this episode, so please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts. And I really want to know what you guys think about just the disaster of a mission that we had in this episode, where the team basically gets split down the middle. Half of the people are kidnapped now and are going to be used as both leverage and, I guess, the second half of an evil version of Firestorm. Who knows what they're going to do and how she's going to get that power. But definitely want to know what you guys think is going to happen. And, of course, what you thought about this episode in general. So please comment below, let me know. And thanks for watching.